Okay, so we've done our few of our measurements, and now what we want is the measurements that we want. How much we want to extend this is by. Do you want to just give me those measurements? And so the previous one was 34 at the bust, and we want this 40 inches at the bust. But with 40, we want a little bit of allowance for seaming.
Would that be 1.5? Do you always use 1.5?
Yeah. So now with personally with me, the way I saw, I generally judge people by just looking at them and taking their measurements. I'm laughing because some people find that really odd and peculiar, that how you can look at a person and judge their size and then take it onto the drawing board. But because we were not taught any other way, that's just our way. Yeah. Now one other thing that, you know, with this, right, with this design, if we look at this design, what they've done is they've taken the material and they've crumpled it. So, you know, the finished neckline is a certain measurement, but if this was opened, if this was taken away, this would be quite wide. Yeah. And then that width, you know, it's like, I don't know, my book.
Oh, your book's here.
Yeah. So that's the finished neck, but if we were to cut the neck, it would be something like that. Okay, and then this would get all gathers put in, where it would bring it in quite a bit. Okay, so if this was ungathered, okay, if you ungathered all this part, it would be like all around here.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's only through the gathering that it's been brought a lot closer in together. So if I was following this, then I would leave off the marking for, and I would just mark this. And just, you understand? That's all I do.
Yeah.
So I'd cut along here, your arm, and the shape of the dress.
Have you measured that? Did you measure?
I haven't measured anything. I've this is my rough.
That's what
you know.
mean.
That's my visual. You know, visual deduction.
But if I wanted to, I could measure that.
So you know, by measuring, what you're doing is you're extending this, and you can't really get the full picture by looking at. You know, now you do have to cut the two pieces separately, because the front is done wider and the neck is done a lot wider, whereas the back, that's done more shapely. So you would cut these not two identical pieces. They'd be identical from below the waist area and maybe around the, not even the armhole, but going down, going towards the top, you would cut the back a lot deeper, because the back would not have gathers. But then if you look at it like a human figure and proportion it according to that, and if you look at the figure of a woman, it's more fuller at the front than it is at the back.
Yeah.
And this is one of the reasons why, to give the effect of the dress, what they've done is they've given it, added the pleating and the gathers, so that will accommodate the bust area.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it will give the dress a better look and a better fitting. Okay, so just going according to my visual, that would be my, you know, I know you won't be able to tell much with the camera. because the chalk is quite light. But okay, so if we're measuring this and following the instructions, that's what we'll do. So if
I don't mind if you use the felt tip on it if you want to do.
Shall I use the felt tip?
Yeah, I don't mind. It's
yeah. Well, okay, we'll use felt tip, so you'll be able to see a lot better. Okay, so what we did was we measured the length of the dress, which was going to be 34 inches, and then if we add about an inch for both, half an inch from the top and half an inch from the bottom for our seaming. Okay, so I would put that, I would mark it off, but this is the width of the dress at the bottom. We've decided to go for
24 inch.
Yeah, and 20, no, 24 was the original one, wasn't it?
Oh yes, it was. Have you changed it?
We've gone to 14 inches. Because it's chiffon will fall a lot nicer as well. So even if you had a little bit more frill, it would give you a better flowy garment.
Yeah.
So we're going to go just a little bit. So 24 is what we've, 14 inches, so 28.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we've got the waist length. So if we put the tape measure at the top, the waist length was 16 inches.
Yes.
I put a mark there. And then what was the
memory?
what was the measurement for the waist?
32.
32. So we want a quarter of 32. The half of 32 is 16.
8. A quarter is 8.
No, half. No, we do.
Half is 16.
Right, that's elasticated as well, isn't it? Yeah, that's because we want some. Yeah, we want elasticating. So what we'll do is we'll just mark it out. We'll shape it. We'll do the bust line first. What was the bust measurement?
40.
40. So that's 10. So that's roundabout, and then I'm going to leave about 2 inches excess and mark it there. And then your hips.
44.
So 11, and we'll do it at 13. So what we'll do is, because this is going to be elasticated, that's the kind of measurements that we're going to go for. And then 9 inches is what we want for the armhole. So 9 inches would be 8 inches down and an inch across, because they're not very deep. And then this is the length. What did I say? The length of the depth of the neckline?
7 inch.
7 inches. That is the rough template that I would go for.
Yeah.
Okay. And then once we've done the front one, we'll cut the back one. Now there's another thing I want you to bear another thing in mind is, do you know your dress? If you measure this according to the back, well, they might have done this front and back same. Yeah, can you see it's gone?
Oh, it goes in more, doesn't it?
Yeah, it goes deeper. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And that's wider for the bust.
Yeah.
Yeah, to accommodate the bust. So you know when you cut this a little bit wider, what we'll do with the back is make it just marginally smaller, so that you've got more room at the front and slightly less at the back. Now what I would suggest to you is, you know, at weekend when you have time, what you can, if you get time, is maybe cut something on this and try it out.
Yeah.
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 So that when we do the chiffon,
we know it's the right measurement.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we can actually follow this template. And if it needs any alterations, we can make alterations to the template.
Yeah.
Now that might look wide. That on its own will look wide, but the reason is that all this is going to get gathers.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this is going to get elasticated, and once that's elasticated and once that's gathered, it'll look more shapely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fine.
So it looks, you know, if you look at it like this, it looks frighteningly wide. But don't worry about it, because the fabric that we're using is chiffon, and because that's a chiffon folds a lot better if it's slightly wider.
Yeah,
than if
it would look nice anyway.
Yeah,
won't
it won't.
Yeah.
It won't. You won't get the look if you made it too skimpy and tight. Okay, and the only thing that we might need to do on this is, once we've done the gathers, we might need to make this just a little bit deeper on the armhole.
Right, yeah.
Okay, but generally what I advise people to do is make it less cut at the armhole at the beginning, because if it means you've cut it too tight and you know you've left yourself no room to readapt later, then it's going to make present difficulties. Whereas if you've left enough space there, you can always do slight changes.
Yeah.
Even when it's almost, normally the thing to do is finish the neckline off and press it, and then, you know, when you're doing the neckline, sometimes what happens is you might end up going a little bit deeper on the one side than on the other side, you know, without realizing. So you've got a bit of room and you can even it out from here.
Yeah.
You know, rather than unpicking the neckline and trying to get it absolutely accurate. So it gives you a bit of leeway. Okay. So that's the back. Now the front, the front needed this wider and this wider, because otherwise we would not have got the pleating. The back doesn't have any pleating, so what we're going to do is cut that more shapely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I did when I practiced it. I cut the front and the back exactly the same.
You cut both identical, yeah. But your front and your back are not identical.
Yeah.
That's the thing that a lot of machinists make a mistake on that. You know, make them identical where they're not. A person isn't identical, especially a woman. Yeah. Certain proportions are on different. Okay. Now, one thing we want same with this is we do want a couple of things that we want the same. Okay, and the couple of things that we want the same is, from the bottom we want it the same. We want the same length, so we can take away the excess on the same length, and then up to the sort of hip point we want it the same. So from the bottom to the hip point, we just want it identical to this. Then from the top, it's going to be a lot, you know, the neckline, we just want the neck according to what your neckline is.
Yeah.
The shoulder, we want it according to, so from here, what we'll do is we'll just turn it over and we'll take remeasurements of your back.
Yeah.
Okay, and then transfer those onto here. I'll just pause that and